To go to another underwhelming franchise, the Miami Dolphins ended the season on a 2-game losing streak, losing to the Baltimore Ravens and then the Buffalo Bills. These losses costed them a chance to host any team in the postseason. They would have had at least a 2 seed, if not the 1 seed. But we've seen that Tua Tagovailoa hasn't been able to come up with big performances against elite teams, especially on the road, and especially in colder weather climates. Now, this game in Kansas City, that is an anomaly of cold weather. I cannot blame him singularly for that specific game. Everybody struggled. Everybody on Miami struggled, because when you're playing in South Beach, when the weather is consistently 7 degrees, sunny, maybe the worst thing you get is rain, but most of the time it is bright and sunny and warm in South Beach. Kansas City in January, this is typical times where it's at least below freezing, some snow, but this was the temperature at kickoff was around 0 degrees Fahrenheit with a wind chill in the -20s. Even Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense struggled to get things going. But after that first quarter and a half, you saw that both offenses got those jitters out and then things were starting to get going. But most of the time that was Kansas City. And the problem is that the offense, despite them finding Tyreek Hill loose, that was just probably a blown coverage there. But after that, Tua just looked skittish. The ball just didn't have that touch because he doesn't have the biggest arm to zip it in there compared to the Josh Allens, the Patrick Mahomes, who have the arm strength to thrust the ball forward and cut through the wind when it is denser, it is windier. And we saw a lot of flying ducks out there, wobblers, and a lot of things that were around the line of scrimmage, just not far downfield. Now, we've seen this so many times. We've seen collapses out of the playoffs. We've seen Tua have injury history. So we have to see now, what do the Miami Dolphins want to do? It seems that they will have the 5th-year qualifying year and have 5 years under his rookie scale contract. That's a given. But I am very tentative on giving Tua the extension. This Chiefs team is a shell of what we were before. I understand this defense is a lot better than years past with Chris Jones, L'Jarius Sneed, and a few other parts in that secondary. They've improved, especially under Steve Spagnuolo. But this was the most loaded Dolphins team. They had a chance to be avoiding these circumstances entirely if they took care of business earlier, beat the Titans, for example. This would have been a very different postseason run. In fact, they could have won the AFC East and hosted a game, avoided this entirely. But the circumstances that Tua cannot get things done on the road, get things done in cold weather because he grew up in Hawaii, went to Alabama, and now he's in Miami. Those 3 domino effects have translated to what the landscape is in the AFC. The AFC's top 3 teams are Baltimore, Buffalo, and Kansas City. And then when Joe Burrow is back, that's Cincinnati. All 4 of those teams play in predominantly cold weather, especially in January. And unless you're telling me that the Dolphins will make some drastic changes and be able to get the 1 seed, host everything in South Beach, there's a good chance that regardless of even winning the AFC East, you will have to go and play at least 2 of those teams on the road.